Good morning, guys. So I've just arrived at USF. I've been participating in a research study that is looking at reverse dieting and basically the post-contest prep setting, what the effects are physiologically, mentally as well. So just about to head inside to meet with James, who is the leading researcher on this project. We're going to do some tests. We're going to be retesting my resting metabolic rate. We did this the week before I competed, then at 4 weeks post-show, and then this will be the 8-week follow-up. So hopefully we will see some improvements to my resting metabolic rate. Also going to be doing some strength testing, so a leg extension, and a couple of other things.
Photobomb.
Oh, hey, look at this guy, David.
I heard you were coming in for your testing. How'd it go?
Good. Well, I'm just about to go in now, so...
Oh, you're going in? Okay, James, I was lifting earlier. James told me you were coming in.
Oh, cool. That's so funny. I didn't know David was going to be running up behind me. This is awesome. So, let's head inside and we'll see how things go. So here's James. He is doing the research project. I just got back last night at like 6:30, so I'm feeling a bit jet lagged. So I got a full night's sleep. So hopefully today I will be okay.
Yeah. How long is the flight?
The flight is 16 hours. Wow. Yeah, it was a long one. And then I had like a little delay in Houston for 4 hours. So I stopped and did some work. Wow, and then Houston to Tampa.
Okay, Holly, so have you had any food or water this morning?
I have not. No.
Okay, good. Any supplements, caffeine, nicotine, anything like that?
No.
Okay, good. And are you fasted for at least 8 hours?
I am fasted for at least 8 hours.
Good.
Definitely.
Any exercise or working out in the last 24 hours?
No, I just got off the plane, so no exercise
No.
And no alcohol on the plane.
Okay, no drinking on the plane. Okay, good to go then.
Although I would have liked to.
Okay, let's go ahead and get your in-body.
Okay. So trousers off.
Yes, down to your base
Yep.
line layers.
I think I just had my sports bra on last time.
Yeah, she'll be HBF 04. Yeah, so when she steps on,
Yeah,
you got it. Cool.
This will be interesting. I just had 3 weeks of excess. A lot of excess.
All that good Australian food.
So much. I reckon I probably put on a kilo if I had to guess. Do I?
Oh, I got this.
Go to text.
Yeah.
And then cap. I know. Actually, she's not cap. So go HBF 04.
Yeah, so this is your ID, so we have your past data to compare it to when it prints out.
Oh yeah.
All good. And flex your lats out. There you go.
Place your thumbs on the oval electrodes. Keep your arms straight. Your arms must not touch the sides of your body.
This will be really interesting.
Starting your in-body test.
I'm predicting I'm probably going to be about.
During the test.
Probably water will be up.
Yeah, from flying as well. And also it's my menstrual. I've had my period twice. Like it's really irregular. So yeah. Lovely music. Oh,
Nice touch.
lovely.
Look at them triceps.
Really?
I know, I'm so jealous.
I'm surprised I still got any after. I think I probably have consumed about 7 bottles of wine alone.
You and ales?
No, just me. Like, oh. I probably had another 7.
I was going to say,
We went to like wineries when we were in Tasmania. All we did was drink and eat. Like every meal was out, and we just had like I still track my macros, but yeah, my nutrition. God, I feel you can feel it. Like,
well, you were still getting some training in out there. I mean, you were doing
got a
well.
little bit of training in, but yeah, it just makes you feel awful the next day when you haven't had any like nice nutritious foods. You can feel your body is like fighting it.
Molly, you want to look at this?
Yeah, I would love to. Cool.
So yeah, a little water, a little high.
Okay, so let's have a look at my weights. So here was my starting weight. So this was the week before I got on stage at 136.
Right.
This was 4 weeks
after,
post.
yep.
And then this is 8 weeks post. Well, actually, it's going to
A little
be.
bit longer.
I'm a little bit
Yeah.
longer because I was away, so
Yeah.
it's more like 9 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just over 2 pounds, 2.2 pound increase in weight. My skeletal muscle mass seems to have increased, but how accurate these are, we don't know. Body fat actually has come back down, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I mean, according to this, you've
According to-
recomp, but
And your water's
if you
down from last time, actually, according to this.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah, that's in body. With lean people, like the extremes, if you go really lean or really overweight, they tend to be less reliable. So I
Yeah.
am hesitant to trust in bodies for body comp assessments.
Yeah, I would love to know what my true, like the skin folds will be the telltale.
Yes,
because
exactly.
I know that I've been working really hard with my weights training, and I feel like, especially my quads, I've noticed big increases in my
Right,
muscle
you
mass.
still look tight, like, even if, I think the skin fold, I like the skin folds the best.
Yeah. So nice.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think last time, I mean, you didn't really change your body fat a whole lot from visit 1 to visit 2, so it'll be interesting to see.
So what was my body fat? 14 and 15?
15,
Yeah,
yeah.
I reckon we're probably 16 this time. I
Yeah.
had to have a guess. So.
I mean, because you're only up, 3 pounds from last time, so
Yeah.
you're not going to change a ton. But then when we calculate your fat-free mass, we can kind of see
Yeah.
what percentage change we get for that too. And how much has your food gone up? Because if we're at 1471, so you technically went down on the RMR, but that is such an insignificant amount. If we were to run stats on that
It
for
wouldn't
like
be
mean,
significant.
yeah, it wouldn't even. It basically means you didn't change.
So my calories were at 11 the week before, 1100 calories.
Before
And
the contest.
yes, then my
Okay.
post 4 weeks was probably about 1600.
Okay,
And
so you
I'm
went
already-
up 500, and then now you're up.
I'm at 1900 now.
So you're up another 400. So
Yeah.
about 800 from
Calorie
your
increase.
baseline or pre-contest. So now that we're 8-9 weeks, we should see some type of change in RMR theoretically, but we'll see kind of what that comes out to be. If it's not significant, it's hard to say too. Like we'll have to run stats and really see if there's a significant difference.
Yeah.
But
So we're going to do resting metabolic rate now.
let's do your questionnaires because Lauren should be here soon. So I would rather do your questionnaires and do your body comp notes. Yeah. So the 2 questionnaires that were 3 for females. The first one is a Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, and that is a measure of how well the participants are sleeping. We use there's a whole sheet on how to score it. It's a little bit complex to explain, but basically what that measures is your sleep quality. Are you having disturbances while you're sleeping? Are you restless? That sort of thing. So it'll give us a overall score for each test. So we do it before her contest, 4 weeks after, and 8 weeks after, just to measure is her sleep quality changing.
And that's really interesting. I was actually using a sleep aid already because I'm already a terrible sleeper, but the feedback generally that we get from athletes and competitors is that the leaner you're getting, the more disruptions you're tending to have with regards to your sleep. And I certainly noticed like massive changes for me personally, the closer I got to being on stage. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what we should see with most competitors. And again, we still haven't finished scoring them and analyzing them. Yeah. But then the other one we're doing is an SF36 health questionnaire. So it's a health survey that measures, I believe it's 7 or 8 different dimensions of health. So anxiety, depression. Are you limited by everyday things in life? Is it hard to go through life, like picking things up, going up and down the stairs? So there's 7 or 8 different measures
Like
we do.
social as well. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah,
It'll give us 8 health concepts. So physical functioning, bodily pain, role limitations, like we discussed, due to physical health and then also emotional problems, so emotional well-being, social functioning, energy, and fatigue. And that's a 36-item questionnaire, and then we get an individual score for each 8 health surveys. And then the last one that we have just for females is a menstrual health questionnaire, and that one we kind of developed on our own. We based it off of another study that looked at physique athletes' menstrual functioning. And so we incorporated a lot of the questions they have, and then we also included a couple of our own. And that's just to assess our menstrual cycles changing within the female physique athletes. Before their show, they should have some disruptions. It should be very abnormal. And then as they progress after their show and their off season, those things should improve and they should normalize more.
So I actually lost my period probably about 7 weeks out, so I missed it. And then I only regained it back, it was 4 weeks out actually.
Okay.
So 4 weeks post show. So I actually got it back relatively quickly, but
Yeah.
for a lot of competitors, it's taking months and months and
For
months.
sure.
So I think that's a really good sign or an indication of my health, my menstrual health. So it's been a little bit irregular. Like I have it, and it was meant to be due next week, and it's come back again early. So it's better than not having it. So
Yeah, and it's tough too. Like with this study, we're only looking at 8 weeks after the show. Like you said, it takes a long time for menstrual cycle irregularities to become regular. It can take 3-6 months. A lot of these other case studies and research examining female physique athletes and menstrual function, it doesn't come back for a long time. And even in some of those studies, it doesn't even show their menstrual cycle being normal again.
Yeah, I've had women that have done competitions before, and they haven't, they've come to me and they've not had a menstrual cycle for over 12 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because of the maybe crazy extreme dieting they have done. I'm not sure, but it certainly seems to be. My health seems to be better than previous shows. I know I didn't get my period back for 8 months after my last show, so. For me to have it 4 weeks post show again, but I'm really happy with that because it probably is an indication that things are working normally. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to do my resting metabolic rate now. This is the machine that we're going to be using. Do you want to talk about this real quick?
Yeah. So what we're doing here is we are assessing Holly's resting metabolic rate, and what that tells us is how many calories does Holly burn within a 24-hour period. And how it does that is through indirect calorimetry and substrate utilization. So as she breathes in this hood, the gases will be collected into a mixing chamber down below, right down here, and that's where the gases are analyzed, oxygen and carbon dioxide. It takes it's a 20-minute test, so it'll take the average 15 minutes of the test and then extrapolate that into a 24-hour period.
Very cool. So yeah, I get to lay down and try not to sleep. It's very relaxing laying here. This is the funnest part of the study. I know the first time I did this when I was really tired, I found it very difficult not to actually just fall asleep. So it kind of goes to show how tired you're getting as you're starting to get towards the end of your prep. So we also just did a couple of quick questions, which is new for the testing, I guess. So it was, the first one was, did I find that I had any episodes of binge eating in the post-show setting? So I said yes. I had like 2 or 3 episodes where I kind of sat down to eat a meal and then found myself just wanting to continue eating. What was the other questions? You had 2 or 3 more.
So we were just asking more about how her 8 weeks post-show went for her with the approach that she used. Did she have episodes of, like she said, binging, uncontrolled eating? Was it hard to stay motivated? Was she finding some self-confidence issues with how her body was changing and responding within the 8 weeks post-show? And then, any supplements she's taking, and would she change anything about her post-show approach, and would she continue with that same approach the next time she goes into her off-season?
So my answers to that were yes, absolutely, finding it difficult. So far as self-body image, obviously you're regaining a little bit of weight, so self-confidence definitely goes down. Supplements that I was taking and have continued to take are glucosamine, fish oil, fucoxanthin, which is a fat loss supplement, which has had some really positive research findings. I've been taking, what else? Just a general multivitamin and sulforaphane, which is broccoli extract, which has had some really great research in a whole myriad of different health or clinical health conditions, from cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, other mental health, psychosocial disorders, autism. So yeah, I've been taking that. And what was the other one? There's something I didn't answer. Motivation. My motivation has probably remained the same as far as making sure that I can stick to it, but being compliant has definitely been probably the hardest thing. You have intentions of trying to stick to your reverse diet process, but it is very difficult when you haven't got the pressure of getting on stage driving you to be compliant. So it takes a lot of self-discipline, and in my opinion, it's probably just as hard as the diet phase, especially in the early parts post-diet when your calories are still kind of low, and you're having to really stick at it. So yeah, that was the other little bit that we just did, and I wasn't filming, so yeah. We're just going to go and do my body composition testing right now. So Lauren's just got here. There she is. So we're going to be doing ultrasound and some skin caliper testing. So, oh, look at that. The back half of our year is completely full. We've got like 4 or 5 different tours we're doing. And so that'll be fun. Seven.
7 on the scale.
And then if you can just hold that. 7.
7 on chest.
That was one bottle of alcohol right there.
12. 12 on the abdomen.
Yeah. What was it previously? That's where I feel like I've gained the most.
You'd be surprised. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
So her measurements don't get skewed.
8.
On the hip.
You're so tan that. Is that just from being outside?
Yeah, it would be. I didn't really get to spend that much time just laying around on the beach. I could have done it with a few more days. It was just literally catching up with friends, doing stuff. I went wakeboarding on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Got some sun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then you come back to
16.
Freezing, yeah.
Yeah, 45-degree weather in
Bring
Florida.
this up and then just kind of rest that on your head.
Yeah, it was fresh this morning. It was 41, I think.
Yeah.
Where I went for a walk.
Crazy.
Out to get the letters. This has been really sunny here though. I think last time this
6.
this time of the year was raining every day and cold and windy.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of nice.
At least it's sunny out.
Mm.
Your abdomen, according to Skinfold, only went up by 1 millimeter. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not much.
It'll be interesting to see what these ultrasound.
Yeah. It's nice to have 2 measures.
Yeah, a bit more accurate.
Not that you can really,
We really just use the caliper as a check.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can say that one or the other is necessarily
Yeah.
better.
Pretty good peak. Consistent.
And then pull on that.
you guys go away for Christmas or New Year?
No, I stayed put. We went to visit my wife's side of the family in Lakeland, kind of like in the more central Florida a little bit. So, yeah, that was nice. But we stayed put. So.
I went to New York. I'm from New York.
Oh, you would have had like White Christmas.
Mhm.
You had snow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my goal. I would love to go there. If we can do that this year, that'd be so fun. Or just somewhere really northern.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful.
I've never seen snow. Isn't
What?
that sad? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Florida
sweet.
baby.
James'
Yeah.
waist is 6.1, hip is 4, and thigh is 5.3.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're about to do my resting metabolic rate. James, what was my first? So the
Yes.
week of my
So the week of her show, her RMR was at 1471. So she was theoretically burning 1471 calories per day. And then 4 weeks after her show, it actually went down to 1424. But that's such a small amount that that's probably within the mean detectable difference. So we wouldn't say that her metabolic rate actually changed there. But again, we'll run stats to confirm that. So because she went up about 3 pounds from visit 1 to visit 2, and now she's gone up another 3 pounds, it is 8 weeks post-show, her food is relatively higher. We would expect her metabolic rate to go up somewhat, hopefully significant, but that's yet to be determined.
That would be nice. Yeah, so my calories have gone from like 1100 the week of my show. I'm sitting at just over 1800 now, 1900. So it's a fairly significant increase in calories. So hopefully the resting metabolic rate is a reflection of that too.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I'm gonna get all fancy up in here.
Yeah. So I'll actually have you lay down first. And if you want to scoot your head down just a little bit on the pillow, and I'll kind of pull it. There you go.
Okay.
Good. That way we can create a good. And I'm actually going to tuck this underneath the pillow too a little bit, just to create a tighter seam. Tuck this in. Are you comfy? Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna lay here for 20 minutes, but 15 minutes is when they'll actually take the average. So, yeah, let's see what that comes back out as.
Holly's initial prep to going into outer space.
Verdict is out. And it looks like it has come down. Yes, you see that correctly. That is a 13. Oh my gosh. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just showing that your metabolic rate hasn't really changed or increased at all since your show. And it could take more time for you.
It could.
But also your body weight hasn't changed a ton, so I wouldn't expect your metabolic rate to change significantly either because you're not gaining more body weight.
Yeah, or a significant amount of body fat either.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe
right.
it is a little bit more.
Yeah.
Resting, it's interesting because usually we would say that something like this is relevant to your lean body mass. So, well, it's a greater predictor of, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I would say it's hard to say what if it's tied to food intake or body fat or muscle mass. I think it's a very incomplete understanding of it right now. So I would say that any significant change in body weight should elicit a significant change in metabolic rate.
Right.
And because you haven't experienced, again, I don't know until we run the stats, but because you've only gained 3 pounds roughly per visit, I wouldn't expect your metabolic rate to change a significant amount.
All right, well, we're going to go and do the strength component now. That is one thing that has increased over the course of the 8 weeks. So we're going to head into the gym and do that now.
All right, so here we are going to assess Holly's leg extension performance. I don't know if I would call it a strength measure or an endurance measure because we're doing 3 sets to failure. They are higher reps. We're using 60% of her body weight. And so she's getting some high reps. I don't want to say because I don't want that to influence her test here. But she will perform 3 sets to failure where she can't do any more. We take 2-minute rests in between each set. Again, we're using 60% of her body weight. And what we hope to see for most of our participants is an increase in the number of reps they perform. We will calculate how many reps they do based off the weight that they used to get a total weight lifted as like an overall bigger picture to compare between testing points.
Gotta get these babies going. I've been sitting on a plane for a few hours. Okay, let's do it. All right.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, so again, we want you to get full extension. I'm going to place my hand behind your shin so that you bring it down to the right depth. And then you can control it as fast as you want as long as you're not letting the weight drop. Just control it down. So.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Good.
Touch my hand. Perfect full extension, just like
Good.
that.
Easy.
Good. Continue on. There you go. Touch my hand, bring it down lower. A little bit lower. Yep, right there. Good. Good. Perfect. Just like that.
Good, Holly.
10,
Come on. Keep going.
11,
Don't slow down now. Come on.
12,
Good, good.
Stay strong. Keep it consistent. Come on. Keep going. Keep going. All the way up. All the way up. Come on. Don't slow down, Holly. Keep going. Stay strong. Let's go.
17.
All the way up.
Oh,
Up,
good.
up, up,
You
up,
got
up.
this.
Don't
You
stop.
got
Don't
this.
stop.
You
Don't
got
stop.
this.
Come on. You got more.
Come
Keep
on.
going. Keep going. Keep going. Come on. Come on.
Good.
Heart rate is up. Oh, jelly.
Walk it off a little
2
bit.
minutes?
2 minutes. Yep.
That's about the highest my heart rate has probably been in at least 3 days. Guarantee.
Go.
Good.
Yeah, perfect. Just like that. Good. Stay consistent.
4,
Here we go.
5,
Here we go, Holly.
6,
Come on now. Stay strong. Let's go. Push it. Push it. All the way up. There we go. Come on. Keep going.
Good, Holly.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. You got it.
Oh, you got this.
There we
13.
go. Good. 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 Good.
14.
Up. 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 All the way up. All the way up. Come on, Holly. Don't slow down.
Easy,
Come on.
good.
Stay strong. Let's go. Up. 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 Up.
17.
Good.
Come on. Another one. Another
You got
one.
one more.
18.
Good.
Another. Come on. Up. Up. Up.
19.
Good.
19. That's where we're going to get one more out of there.
I probably could have, but I think I would have gone a bit short.
Yeah,
I
not
wouldn't
full
have got full
extension.
extension.
More important to get the full extent,
Yeah.
full range than a reps.
Oh, lactic acid.
Go.
1,
Good.
2, 3,
Good. Just like that.
5,
Easy.
6.
That's light.
7, 8,
Good, Holly.
9,
Keep going.
10,
Keep going. Push it.
Touch my hand. Touch my, there we go. Come on.
Push it.
Let's
Come
go.
on, last one.
Push it. Come on, Holly. All the way up. All the way up. Come on. Let's get
Come on,
another one.
come
Come on.
on,
Up. 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 Up.
13.
Good,
Up.
good.
Up. Up.
Push,
Up.
push,
Full
push
extension.
through
Full
it,
extension.
push
Full
through it.
extension.
17.
Girlie, you got the exact same numbers as last time.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Like to the T consistently.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Huh.
But all much better than your first session.
Yeah. What was it the first time?
So we started at 17 reps for the first set,
Yep.
and then now you're at doing 20 reps for the
Oh,
first set.
wow.
16 to 19, 14 to 17.
Consistently. Well,
Consistently,
this is good.
these two, but yeah,
Yeah.
right here, and same weight each time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big thing we did is we keep the weight that you're working at the same. Otherwise, if we
Yeah.
were to change it based off your weight change, you're comparing apples to oranges essentially.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay.
So, yeah,
Cool.
good work.
All right.
Yeah, so what we plan to do, we have one more subject to complete her 8-week post-visit. So as soon as that's done, we'll finish entering the data, and then we'll look to analyze it. That's going to be the tricky part. We are going to bring in some outside help with that to do some other measures because it's a case study, so we're not really randomizing. There's a lot of issues with that. So anyways, we plan on analyzing that once we get our last subject done, and then we hope to publish that this year. We'll begin doing the write-up as soon as we've got all the data, and we're already working on the write-up a little bit now too. We hope to probably look at JISSN to publish there, maybe some other ones too. We're still kind of up in the air about that.
Okay, that's the International Journal of Sports. Sports and Nutrition and Science or something like that?
Yeah, ISSN, International Society for Sports Nutrition.
Okay. And also, I was going to ask you, what led you to do this particular study? So obviously it's a reverse diet. It's kind of a new, kind of nuanced style of, I suppose, a nutrition intervention. What made you go for this?
Yeah, so that's a good question. What is out there within the literature right now for bodybuilding case studies or natural physique athletes? Most of the studies look at the contest preparation period. Some of them do include the post-contest period a little bit, and there's only one case study, or it's technically a pilot study. I think there's like 15 subjects in that one, and I think that was Trexler and Campbell. Abby Ryan Smith, I think, was in that too. And they're the only study to look at, examine the actual post-competition period. So I just felt that the post-competition period within bodybuilding is very understudied, and there's a lot of a lot of research that could still come out on that. And I think it's also one of the most undervalued aspects of bodybuilding competition is that post-competition period, your off season. I think most competitors put too much emphasis on the contest prep and not enough on how to recover after a show. What specific dietary intervention would be best for them to get progress moving in the right direction for their next season.
I think, and also, I think there's a lot of layover between, for the competitors and athletes into the general population as well, because, so many people are going on these really drastic, radical diets, and then we're going to see a lot of backlash, in that post-diet setting because, it's not something that we're really familiar of how to prevent or minimize weight regain. So hopefully we can start to really get a lot more research being done in this area, and then stipulate some guidelines to how you can actually prevent that weight regain.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If there is a better way than another. So.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, is looking at, there are these two popular strategies within the natural bodybuilding community, a reverse diet and a recovery diet. I think, that's kind of how the study started out. We're kind of straying away from that a little bit. We're going to have to look at the data and look at the participants' nutrition logs to see if they actually followed the correct approach. But looking at sort of this more aggressive increase in calories and weight post-show versus a more conservative, slower increase in calories and fat after show, and what are the differences between the two. And again, like you said, with looking at other populations, especially overweight people who go through a dieting phase, lose a substantial amount of weight, and then they don't know what to do after that diet, which is why all that body weight comes back on. Yeah. So if we can get these strategies that are used within bodybuilders and hopefully get them to the general public, especially with reverse dieting, I think there's a lot of benefits for that general population and kind of how to approach after the diet and conserving that weight loss. Yeah,
I'm very interested to see, we were just chatting actually before about coming back in and doing a 6-month post-show, testing all the same parameters, because at the moment it looks like my resting metabolic rate hasn't changed at all. In fact, it came down, obviously, as we saw the numbers today. Whether that's significant or not, we're not sure, but you know, what kind of duration do we need to do this
Yeah.
reverse diet before we start seeing some kind of metabolic repair? So I'm super interested in that because, you know, I'm working with clients every single day. Then we can actually give these people guidelines to say, well, hey, we're probably going to need to, you know, reverse you for, it might be 30 weeks before we have, you know, a significant change in your resting metabolic rate. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest within that too. I mean, 8 weeks is a short amount of time, especially if you figured how long did you prep for it? Maybe
18 weeks.
Yeah, so if you're looking at only 8 weeks versus, you know, it took you 18 weeks to get to a certain point, and now we're only at 8 weeks. It could take you 18, maybe 20, even longer to get you back to where your metabolism is working in your favor.
Yeah.
So
I should come in and do it at 18 weeks
yeah,
and see
that would be good.
What the difference is.
Yeah,
So,
even maybe every 8 weeks from here on, and just
Yeah.
see, you know, maybe before you start your next prep, and see how high you can boost that metabolic rate from slow increases.
Yeah, well, my next competition is World Championships in August, so I need to kind of do a bit of back calculation and work out when I need to start prepping. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how high I can get my calories over the next, you know, 10 or so weeks before I need to start dieting. And was there any effective change to my resting metabolic rate before I start dieting again? So that's a bit of a telltale. So I'm off to go to the lab anyway to get my leptin and my thyroid hormones tested now, so you guys can come with me and check that out. And I would definitely be getting back in touch with these guys when they have the paper ready for us. So yeah, thanks so much for
yeah,
giving
thank
me
you.
your studies.
We're very
Awesome.
very grateful for your participation.
Cool. Thanks, James.
Thanks.
So I have been fasted all morning. It is like noon here, so I'm very hungry. Just starting to get a few grumbles, so I'll be keen to get this done and then be able to go back inside and have something to eat. So James and I actually think that we're probably not going to see a huge increase in my leptin or thyroid just because I haven't put on a huge amount of body fat yet. So I'll be able to get these results in about a week. So find the building. 2. You get lost. It's not signed very well. There we go. Yes, I found it. Cool. So that's all done. 48 hours time, I will have the results. So yeah, we weren't allowed to film in there. It is against Quest policy, but I should have guessed. It's pretty standard for these big organisations. So couldn't show you me getting it done, but yeah, didn't hurt.